Okay, plan for hamstrings today. Of course, RDLs are going to be in the equation. That's a guarantee. But, you know, I started getting thinking about the hamstring curls, and I honestly kind of like the feeling of the laying down ones. So I don't want to exclusively do them, but I actually might split two sets and two sets onto seated and laying down hamstring curls. So I think that's the plan. I'm gonna start off with RDLs heavy. I want to do like, I don't know, a couple of workup sets, and then we'll do like two heavy working sets. Two warm up sets, and then I'll work into like two actual heavy working sets. There we go. And then continue on to some seated hamstring curls, two sets, and then I'll finish off like squeezing on the laying down ones. I feel like they would be a good finisher as opposed to like a middle. I don't know. Because I really liked, I don't know what it was about it. There was something though. It just felt great. I remember my hamstring pump afterwards was like crazy. But yeah, obviously we'll finish off with some leg extensions just to get some volume. Or maybe not. I'm not too sure. I feel like the quads have been getting hammered recently, but more volume can't hurt. I don't think we've been overdoing it on leg volume, and it's been pretty good, pretty consistent. Strength has been constantly going up, so maybe we'll keep it the same. Now, a question I get a lot of the time regarding food and diet, and we're not going to talk about calories and all that. I think we've discussed that a lot recently. A question I get that's a little bit more specific is about carbs and like when you should be having them or how much. So first, to clear up a misconception about carbs, they are not the enemy. We've said this before. I think in one of my first videos I discussed about dieting. Carbs are like the factor you're really manipulating when it comes to a bulk versus a cut. You're always going to be wanting to get your 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight in, regardless of if you're cutting, bulking, or maintaining. A lot of protein is good. Most Americans actually don't get enough protein. So there's that. It's over 40 or 50%, I believe, if not more. Fats. I mean, you're going to need to get a good amount of healthy fats in. And I don't mean excessive and like the horrible like trans fats and like all that garbage. But I'm talking like avocado, olive oil, butter, like your healthy fats. Those don't want to change either because you got to have some hormonal control. So the only thing you're really manipulating in a bulk or a cut is the amount of carbs. So when you hear, oh man, I got to cut out carbs from my diet so I can lose weight, a lot of the time it's a misconception that carbs are the enemy and that they're the ones making you fat. That's not necessarily true. It's really just the excess of calories. And what do most people tend to eat a lot of? Carbohydrates. I mean, that's in all the junk food, chips, burgers, fries, you name it, candies, sugars as well. But that's a form of carbohydrates, again. But carbs themselves aren't necessarily the enemy. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's calories. That's what ultimately determines weight loss, weight gain, weight maintenance. But what you want to manipulate is that carbohydrate level. So if you want to bulk, protein stays the same, fat stays the same, carbohydrates increase. You go from like maybe 100 grams to 200 grams. And there you go. That's 400 extra calories because it's about like 4 calories per gram of carbs, I think. And then same thing for a cut. I mean, if you want to cut down, you go from like 200 to 100 grams of carbs a day. Protein and fat stay the same. And boom, there you have it. Now you have your deficit. Because you don't want to manipulate the other things since they're kind of essential. So that's like a quick crash course on carbs. They aren't evil. They're actually helpful. I mean, they're your body's like primary and first option for energy. I mean, you've all heard of muscle glycogen, I'm sure. That's what your body preferentially uses when doing any sort of activity. That's the first like line of defense, I guess, for energy. So why is it that when you're bulked up, you like get such good pumps and you feel so like energetic compared to the cut where you're a little more drained and your stamina is a little bit less, the strength is a little bit less, you have less glycogen stores, less rapidly mobilizing forms of energy. If you're going through like, using ketones and stuff like that, like fats, lipolysis for your energy, it's a little bit slower. It's a little bit of a longer process. Not to say that you don't use any of that while you're in a bulk, but you get the idea. The carbs are the readily available source of energy. So there's that. Now, on to the question. When you want to like wait, let me reword this. So when should you take your carbs during the day? I think this is a better way to address this and tackle this sort of dilemma. To be honest with you, I don't think it necessarily matters to like worry about, at least, because most people get in their carbs anyways. But for you serious lifters that are worried about like the specific time of taking your carbs, for me personally, I generally like to get some carbs in me before my lift, and I'm talking a rapidly digestible carb, like a simple carb, something easy and quick. For those of you guys that like to eat a lot, cucumbers are a good option. For those of you that are have like a medium level appetite, eat something like an apple. A lot of fruits have good rapidly digestible carbs. And if you're a dude that barely eats at all, man, just go ahead and have a bagel. Like you're good. Just have a bread or something. Like you'll be fine. But any simple carb that is rapidly digestible is going to be good to consume before your workout. The amount of grams really depends on what you want with your bulking cut. You can do a little bit of research, but splitting your intake to a little bit before the workout, an intra workout carb, so a carb you take during your workout, is a good idea for you guys who are really trying to push it hard. Now, I don't really do that because it's a little bit of a hassle, and I know I'm not going to be consistent with it, but it is a good option to give you like another simple form of energy. I mean, we're talking things like dextrose, that's like readily available glucose. This is an oversimplification by far, but you get the idea. So, a little bit before your workout, it's okay to have some with breakfast as well, but I personally like to save them, most of them. I'm talking over half of my carb intake of the day for my final meal, and I'm talking dinner. So let's just do a regular 3-meal. Let's assume a 3-meal day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, pre-workout snack. Okay, so I had my breakfast, and I had a lot of protein. We're talking 40 to 50 grams of protein, something like that. Had my healthy fats, the avocados, the whatever, and a little bit of carbs. Then I had an apple before my workout and some, I don't know, apple and a couple of cucumbers. Okay, there's my carbs before the workout. Then I have my lunch afterwards. We're talking chicken, some rice, and then broccoli maybe. And then for dinner, now, this is the danger zone for most people, because if you have been starving yourself all day and you get to dinner, things can get dangerous. I mean, the late night snacks are a scary sight. They can ruin the bulk or the cut. I mean, I feel like for the most part during the day isn't too bad, but it's at night where the demons start coming into your mind and tearing down your defenses. Maybe it's okay if we have a little snack here and there. No. Don't let that happen to you. So if you save a lot of your carbs for the nighttime, that's a lot of extra calories you're going to be able to consume at night. The same goes for calories, by the way. Like, I like to save most of my calories for my last meal, really. Like, I'm talking 50% for breakfast and lunch and the other half for dinner, because otherwise, going to sleep hungry, it's not a good feeling, especially on a cut. On the bulk, spread out your calories throughout the day. Make sure you actually get them all in. But especially if you're cutting, make sure to save some of those calories for nighttime, and especially the carbs. And then plus, I feel like that gives you a lot of time overnight to like absorb and digest and like get your muscles primed, full of glycogen. You're ready for the next day. So yeah, it's not too complicated. I don't think most people are short on carbs. That is not a problem you see very frequently. But there you have it. It's not too complex of a topic. Now, what kinds of foods are good carb sources versus bad carb sources? This is also pretty simple. And I think you know what most of these foods are. Sweet potatoes, regular potatoes are fine. Rice is good. I mean, as long as you're not picking a high sugar rice. I'm sure there's some out there. Brown rice is a good option for those of you with insulin issues. I think it's a little bit better. I'm not too familiar with the science on it, but I know it's better for people that have a little bit of diabetes issues. So there's that. Calories are about the same, honestly. I think brown might be a little bit less, but it's like virtually the same. What else? I try to stay away from like breads and pastas, especially on a cut. On the bulk, I'm good with that, just because on the bulk you need the calories, but the pastas and the breads can be a little too enticing. Yeah, I think you all know what I mean. And then fruits, of course, and vegetables. I mean, those are going to have like a lot of those simple carbohydrates that are very readily digestible and easy to eat too, and delicious. So yeah, fruits, vegetables contain fiber too, and yeah. But bad sources of carbs, we're talking really high sugar foods. We're talking sugar loaded sodas, candies, bagels. Oh, I mean, those are my bread and butter, but we want to stay away from those. Cookies, ice cream, yeah. Anyways, that's enough yapping. We're here at the gym. It's a beautiful day outside. It's a beautiful day for legs. Tennis cardio session went crazy yesterday. It was actually quite worth. If you want a good fun outdoor source of cardio, go play some tennis or pickleball. If you can't play tennis, play pickleball. It's a little easier. But yeah, let's get in there. Let's get our workout in. Let's get this intensity going. Come on. Okay. Pulling a trick out of the bag. I got a plate here on the ground. I'm going to stand on it. Again, don't have the straps, so it'll extend my range of motion down. Can get a little bit more of a stretch. So here's an example with one of my warm-up sets. This one's not early. Okay, except for these here, but that's to be expected. This yeah, pretty simple. So I'm just trying to lean a little bit more forward and drive backwards just to make sure I'm getting it all in my hamstrings, less than the glutes. Okay, I think we're ready here. Let's do this. I'm aiming for I want to say 8 to 10 good ones here. I want to try to really be slow and on the, the eccentric, just to really focus on that stretch because we'll pump out reps later, and I think we're already going to have enough of that. So, yeah. And this isn't too crazy heavy, but that added depth of the plate will make it a little bit freakier. So, let's get going. Okay, yeah, one more of those. Okay. We'll get one more good one here. I'm going to go with a mixed grip just to make sure my grip doesn't give out first. We got close last time, but here we go. My left hand, 648, and thumb. Was you going to work on something that I had disengaged with somebody else? Okay, that's enough. Yeah. Okay, on the curls. You know what? We're going to switch up the order here. I'm feeling this one first for some reason. I think it actually might be easier to do curls last because I do think this one's a bit harder, just for me at least. So we'll start off here. Got a good stretch on those. The mixed grip though, you have to be careful on RDLs, just because it can make your kind of the distribution of weight uneven because the arms are positioned differently. I don't like to rely on it too much, but while I'm waiting for those straps to come in, I don't really have much of a choice. Anyways, need to fix the leg. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay. We'll go up one next set. Yeah. Oh, you're good. Okay. Made the adjustment here. Go a little bit heavier. We don't want this to be too light. But I'm going to aim for like 10 solid ones, and I might force out a few more. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's enough here. I want the hamstring curls. Dudes hitting on girls in the gym. Not the play, my guy. Hope we can talk about this after the lift. Okay, plan here is 2 sets. Hard. I'm not gonna go to failure on this one, but next one I might cave in and do a drop set. I don't know. Feeling the energy from the bulk. Let's do this. Okay, maybe we'll drop set this. That was not enough reps. Too heavy of a weight. 2 more. Okay, I like that. 1 more here, and then we'll get a few sets of quads in, and then we'll do some adductors off camera. No cardio today because of legs. All right. Okay, now leg curls after hamstrings can get a little dicey, and by dicey I mean a little painful, but I think it'll be okay. Planier, I'm gonna go double-legged today. I think, even though we can max out the machine, but the goal isn't to hammer the quads today. I just want to give them a little bit of extra volume so that they're fresh and ready to go for the next leg day. Okay, let's do this. Okay. That's set 1 on the books. Maybe I will go isolateral. That was a bit easy. 2 more. Okay. Single leg for sure. The whole stack was too easy. I do wish these went up, but what can we do? Again, I'm gonna set the seat all the way back. Keep my legs and my butt down on the seat to make sure we're actually engaging all of our quads. Most common mistake is kind of lifting up off the seat like this. You end up doing less quads there, and it's kind of more body and momentum. But whatever. Let's just start with a weaker leg. Okay. We'll match that 11 with the right leg. Okay. Yeah, one more. Again, the good thing about going isolateral is even though the set takes longer, you recover faster because you're going one at a time. So left is ready to go, right is still cooked, but it'll be ready by the time I finish this half part of the set. So let's get going. Come on. Oops. There we go. Now the weight's right. Okay. Oh. Okay, one more. Okay. Yeah. We'll get adductors in, and then we're out of here. Yeah, so, context. I ran into my sister at the gym, and she was telling me about how yesterday when she was leaving, some dude was like looking at her weird when she checked in, and was kind of like following her around as she was working out. And when she was leaving, she like took a roundabout exit, like out of like the opposite side of the gym to try to avoid this guy. And anyways, what ends up happening is this guy, like, I guess, follows her out of the building pretty much, chases her there. This guy's an employee, by the way. Chases her out of the building around the corner. And this is like a weird route. Like, no one leaves the building this way just to go all the way around to go to the front. He follows her outside and yells. He's like, "Hey!" Goes up to her and then hits on her. I mean, come on, guys. If you're hitting on girls in the gym, what are you doing, man? I mean, like, there's a saying, you don't take a crap where you eat, except the term is a little bit more obscene, obviously, right? But come on, dude. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's not really the place or the time. I mean, unless it's like super obvious. Come on, dude. It makes things uncomfortable for everyone, especially the girl. I mean, it's an intimidating situation, but it is what it is. Anyways, let's discuss cutting a little bit more. So on the way here, I was kind of discussing carbs and like intake and kind of things to do with that when it comes to the cut. But again, that's kind of just semantics. That's more so like a worry for dudes like prepping for a show or like really trying to like optimize their workout. That was like for the hardcore lifters. But some good general like guidelines for cutting have less to do with cardio. And surprisingly to some, but unsurprisingly to me, has to do with more of the calorie intake side of things. Okay, so everyone knows that you need to be in a deficit to lose weight at this point. And sure, cardio helps. Cardio is great. It can make things easier. You can eat a little bit more. Your body's using up more energy. You can eat a bit more. You'll burn a bit more fat. You'll lose more calories per day. That's pretty basic, pretty simple. I think everyone understands that. Deficit and cardio. But while the cardio helps, it's not like a main player. The main player in terms of like loss of weight, well, your body uses energy in 4 ways. First, you have your basal metabolic rate. That's just the amount of calories or energy your body needs just to keep the lights on, to keep you alive and kicking. So that accounts for about 75% of your daily intake, if not a little bit more. I mean, that means you should be laying in a bed and your body would require that many calories. Okay. After that, you have the next biggest category, I believe, is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, something like that. What that pretty much is the energy you use just in your actions you don't even think about. For example, me waving my hand at this camera, me grabbing the wheel, me turning my head, me walking around, just not even really thinking about it, going about my day-to-day life. Okay, so those are things that are going on for everyone already. The third thing that goes on for everyone, the amount of energy your body uses to digest food. also accounts for a decently sizable portion. I believe it's around 10 to 15% of your daily intake goes towards, or sorry, your maintenance goes to that. So that's quite a lot. The amount of energy it takes to just digest food and get those calories around your body. Okay, so that's happening for everyone. The last like 7% or so, like we're talking like 10% or less of your total daily like caloric maintenance for your body. That last little sliver comes from exercise and lifting and cardio. It doesn't account for much. So really, the way to cut out most of that energy to get your weight down is actually through food control and calorie control. So while cutting can seem hard because you think you have to do cardio, you don't have to do cardio to lose weight. That's a pretty big misconception. If you just reduce the amount of food you're eating overall, / calories. Amount of food doesn't equate to calories. We have more calorie-dense foods. That's a rabbit hole. If you just reduce the amount of food you're eating, you're going to lose weight faster than if you just did like a ton of cardio. It's also more sustainable. You're not going to do hours of cardio daily. And it doesn't account for most of your body's energy anyways. So sure, it'll increase like your daily maintenance by 200 to 300 calories. But by cutting out like 500 calories worth of food, I mean, man, if you think about what's easier, sure, you might feel a little hungry, but cutting out 500 calories of food is an act of inaction versus going to do cardio requires you to physically get up and go do something or go somewhere. So, not cardio. So, weight loss is very accessible. Very accessible. Cutting is very accessible. It just requires the lack of activity, which is great news to everyone. Guess what? You don't have to do cardio. Now, am I saying don't do cardio? You're looking at the wrong guy for that, pal. I will always recommend cardio. Because we don't just do cardio for cutting. I don't really do cardio for the purpose of cutting. I'm doing it for my heart health, mainly. You don't want, the U.S. is already riddled with atherosclerosis and congestive heart failure and heart disease, all as a result of fat being deposited in your arteries and vessels as a result of just eating too much junk food in excess. Where does all that fat go once you've consumed all of it? Well, guess what? It gets absorbed into your lymphatic system from your gut, and it ends up draining into your blood vessels. And guess what happens? There's a buildup of fat in the blood vessels. If you know physics and fluid dynamics and all that, the thinner your like pipe is, or in this case, your vessel, because guess what? There's less space to move now that fat has filled it up. Your pressure is going to be a little bit higher. Actually, not even a little bit, a lot higher, because your body still needs to transport the same amount of like blood around, and it needs the blood that's carrying its oxygen and minerals and stuff. Guess what happens? To keep pumping the same amount of blood through, it has to increase the pressure to get it to go faster and faster so it can keep going. So we don't want heart failure and any congenital heart diseases, anything like that. Well, not congenital, but you'll get the idea. So cardio is still important, but it's not the be-all, end-all, ultimate thing you need to lose weight. It's a good added benefit, and it has incredible health benefits, but it's not like a 100% necessary, ultimate thing you need to do. You don't have to do it. And that's the good news for all of you out there. So enough of the ramble. Here's the conclusion. Here's the one takeaway. Most of your caloric maintenance for your day-to-day function does not come from cardio. That accounts for, and exercise, accounts for less than 10%. Most of it comes from what you're eating and what you're putting into your body. If you just cut out some food without even doing cardio, you're going to lose weight. And that's the conclusion. Anyways, that's enough of that. Leg day was good today. Those extra calories and carbohydrates that I consumed before the workout from today's carb source was an apple, and I had some strawberries as well. That was kind of fire. I had an RX bar as well, and then drank a protein shake. I tried to keep the breakfast a little bit lighter today. It was only like a 600 calorie breakfast because my stomach is feeling quite full from the bulk. But I'm pretty hungry now. I think we're going to have a crazy lunch, a 1,000 calorie plus lunch. Well, maybe we'll keep it around 1,000 and save the big portion for dinner. But good leg workout. The energy is coursing through me. Those carbs are giving me that extra vitality into my workouts. I feel like I've been rejuvenated recently. My natural state is eating. As much as I love like seeing the shreds in the cut, eating is just more fun. But yeah, plan for tomorrow. I think we'll do, it's chest day. And I think in 2 days time, we have a rest day. I'm going to be changing up the lifting routine. I also have a trip coming up, so that could affect the video upload schedule. So we might get like a week of videos where I'm just talking about stuff. My plan is to discuss a few things that I find, kind of interesting with fitness, and I'll keep those a surprise. There's one thing that has been nagging me that I do want to discuss. I think it'll be fun. But yeah, look forward to those. Exercises are going to be changing soon. The college life is going to change things up. I'm finally going to get like full freedom over everything I have. So we'll do some day of eating videos, cooking videos. I'll get some shopping videos loading. And that's pretty much it. Get out there, enjoy the beautiful day, and I forgot to tell you guys at the beginning of the video to please ask me questions. You don't even have to like, comment, or subscribe. I just want to help people out and answer some questions. Seriously, if you have anything you want me to address or look into to discuss, I'd be more than happy to do so. But otherwise, if you made it this far, seriously, thank you. I appreciate you for watching the videos. For the few of you that have reached out, and I've had a couple of people reach out and say that the videos have helped, I personally thank you. So there's that. Anyways, peace out, guys. Do your cardio now.